When they say, oh, don't say that you're a warrior because there's no life and death to it. Bro, you can die spiritually. You can die emotionally. You can be emasculated and never feel like that man again.
Assassinating your character.
Yeah.
Batman takes bang this all summer. This is one of them. Virginia stand up 757. You gonna like this one. We run things. Things no run. We get them Batman.
Welcome back to another Badman podcast. I'm Bubba Jenkins and your Badman, bringing you another episode of the Badman podcast, brought to you by Ample Points. And we have a special show for you today. And it is our first in studio for the podcast. So I'm excited. I had to let y'all listen to that intro a little bit longer because my man hadn't listened to the song yet. But we are here with USC flyweight Ode Osbourne. Hey!
Wagwan.
Where my horns at? There it is.
Wagwan.
So yeah, man. How you doing, big dog? What's up with you?
I am doing amazing. Life is good. You know what I mean? Life is amazing. I've been doing, it's so crazy. I've been doing so good. I worry about myself. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm coming off of a loss. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Sometimes it's gotta be like that.
Man, this is one of those times where I'm like, why am I so happy right now?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
You said you got into some flowers, some cactuses.
Yes, man.
That'd be a little hobby of yours, right?
I did.
That's what's up.
I started growing these cactus, and I thought cactuses were like, these little boring plants.
Yeah.
But turns out there is 1,000 different varieties of cactus.
And the way that they're made, the way that they're created in the sun and the heat.
Yes, mine grows
water.
flower.
Yeah.
I have a cactus at the house that grows flower.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, I was like, what?
I gotta dive into that a little bit.
Man.
Yeah,
And
a little hobby like that.
I think, you know what else? You know why else I like it? Because you can't mess it up. They get fed once every 2.5 weeks, once every 2 weeks.
You really can't mess up a cactus. Like it's on its own little world, man. That's awesome, man. That goes into the mindset of just picking up something to do, something to not drive you crazy. Not only after a fight, whether win or loss, but just being a fighter. I think that goes into the mindset.
Yeah, man. And not only that, but creating life is, I don't know what it is, something about just like natural life and earth. You know what I'm saying? We're surrounded by buildings and businesses. You know what I'm saying?
Computers
we're always computers and all the time. We don't really get to connect with the earth, like what God has put in front of us. You know what I'm saying? God gave us the entire garden. You know what I'm saying? He gave us the whole garden.
Yes.
And he likes
that's a little bit why I don't like the fact that Vegas don't got a beach.
I know.
You know what I'm saying? You give me that part of the earth, you know what I'm saying? Let me get my feet in the sand. Let me see a jellyfish, you know what I'm saying?
Real.
We know more about space than we know about the water, about the sea. So, let me get that part of earth. But, we do get the desert part of it. We get areas where we can go shoot and see some coyotes.
Too.
Yeah. Got some lakes.
I do love the lakes here though.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, you want to know what I love about the lakes here?
I did see you have a good time at the lake.
I always go to the lake. I bought 2 paddle boards. And, so I picked the paddle board.
Okay.
And
little workout session.
But it's fun, man. It's fun.
Absolutely.
People think it's like super extreme. It's actually not.
Yeah.
It's actually really, really easy. It's not even like there's a surfboard, right, where you got to balance. Yeah. There's no balancing measurements required. You can stand on it and paddle, and it's so flat on the. It's crazy.
That's awesome.
It's super flat. It's like you're standing on the floor, and it's easy to do.
That's awesome.
But yeah, man, I like the waters because sometimes I'll sit on the paddleboard with my legs off to the side and I'll paddle that way.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, I'm not gonna get messed with by no sharks.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna get messed with by no gators. In Florida, I grew up in Florida, and there was always one or the other. You either get the sharks or you get the gators.
Or the gators. Yep.
Out here in the desert,
you don't get picked. You don't have to pick nothing, man. No options in the danger of the water, man. So that's awesome, man. I want to actually, people are picking up a little bit on, how we kill our time, how we, don't go crazy or don't go, into bumping shoulders everywhere we walk with people that are random, right? What do you think the mindset is of, us fighters, or what do you think the mindset should be of us fighters going in to, into that battle, right? So me and you both had a fight, and basically 24 hours apart from each other. I fought on the 4th, you fought on the 5th, right? And we both came away with lessons, learnings, L's, as you can say it, lessons, learns. We both came away with that, but going into it, I want to get your mindset of what it may have, what fighters should be looking at and what you were actually, having going into the fight, going into the process, maybe during camp. Can you expound on that a little bit?
Well, fighting is the ultimate X factor. And what I mean by that is the X factor. You train for months to be able to perform on one night. And it's like an algorithm. You know what I'm saying? If the whole algorithm lines up, you'll perform. But if there is one number, just one number in that algorithm that is off, it messes with your your flow, your mind, everything goes thrown off. The algorithm has to be perfect. That's why we go so hard in camp. You know what I'm saying? So that way we have a little room for error. You know what I'm saying?
You can deal with it a little bit easier.
Yeah, we can deal with it a little easier,
I'm finding out, even at my older, as I'm 35, I'm finding out, right?
35 years young, by the way, man.
Yeah, baby. Even I'm finding out that I'm more of, when I get stressed, I become more of an emotional gangster instead of I become this mental giant everywhere else. But when I become a little bit stressed, I become emotional. Almost not even emotional gangster, almost emotional immature. I become immature, and I almost throw care out the window in a sense. You know what I mean?
That's understandable. Well, a lot of that, where that comes from, because I used to do that. I used to do that a lot in wrestling. Actually, I do that a lot. But
whatever, headlock. I'm doing it. Let's get it.
But where that comes from is just childhood trauma of being told that eventually you're not going to be nothing, but not necessarily like that. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
But we felt that somewhere along the lines. We felt that we felt that that. You know what?
Yeah. That's suppression.
That's suppression. And so that comes out. That's why we're like, I don't care anymore. You know what I mean? I'm just gonna do whatever.
I didn't. That's something. That's a therapeutic moment that I didn't. We gotta have like a light bulb. Quan, hit me with a light bulb moment, or a ding, or a flute's gotta play, or something. When we get to a moment that is highlighted in our everyday thinking, that is like, oh man, I did that. That dawns on me when you say it like that, man. Well, because that every day. Especially in our lives as fighters or African Americans, or just Africans, right? We know that in our everyday coming up, there's a little bit of a suppression that is not really, I guess it is spoken about, but it's not really felt by other people other than us. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And with dealing with that, it comes out a lot of times in these bigger moments, and we don't really get to a place where we express that other than in that sport itself. We express it by running someone over. We express it by tackling. We express it by pinning or double legging. It's not in these sports. It's not really the most effective way to circum that. A lot of us become great athletes.
Well, fighting's not normal.
Right.
It's not a normal thing.
A lot of us become great at it because we were traumatized. Not because we're good athletes.
Exactly.
There is that. There are people who become good at it. They learn the sport. But there are some people who are fighting demons. So when they come to fighting a person, it's nothing.
Exactly.
It's a wrap.
And you said it perfectly. Everyone is built differently. Our brains react to trauma differently. Some people, when it comes to fighting a person, it's nothing. But we're never fighting the person in front of us. We're always fighting ourselves. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
All the traumatic incidences that's happened to you in your life. So I used to do this thing in high school, and I don't know why I did it. I just always did it. And whenever I'll get to like the finals in a match or something like that, I would lose. Or whenever I get to the state tournament, I would lose to the kid that I would lose at the finals or something like that. And you know what I mean? And if I knew there was a chance of me winning, I would almost self-sabotage, not purposefully, but psychologically. I used to do that all the time in high school, and I didn't know why. I would get mad at myself, like, why did I do that? Why did I do that? But really, you know what I'm saying?
You got to deal with the trauma.
Because so many times. Yeah, because here's the thing: so many times we were so close to getting something in our life, and we just didn't get it. So many times your mother was so close to getting that job, and she just didn't get it. You felt all of your mother's sufferings. Yeah. You embodied all of those things. Yes. So sometimes now, when we're so close to getting that thing, we throw care out the window. We self-sabotage opportunities.
Absolutely.
But this time, it's a cycle that repeats itself. This time, I did something different. This time, I didn't go through the cycle of feeling bad for myself and just being like, you know what? I didn't go through the same cycle that I go through over and over again.
Because you said something. Go ahead.
Yeah, because in high school, when this used to happen in high school, I would just go through the cycle. You know what I'm saying? Why did I do that? You know what I'm saying? But we don't grow when we do that, I think, because I've done it that way. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like,
when you were in that cycle, right? And why did I do that? When you went back to self-reflect, is that what you're not growing on?
I didn't go back to I didn't understand. I didn't understand self-reflection or none of that until like later on in life. I didn't understand how the brain. I didn't understand none of that. I just was mad at myself. You know what I mean? I was just getting so mad at myself, and that's why I didn't grow.
Right.
So it's like now, you know what I mean? I'm like, you know what? I gotta give myself some grace. I gotta let myself grow. I can't keep putting a ceiling over myself. Otherwise, it never gets free. It almost stays inside of you. It never gets free if you don't say, you know what, I'm human. This happens. Let me try something different. Let me try a different approach so I can free myself from this mental slavery.
Yeah, you know, there is definitely a contraption going on in your head that is felt spiritually, emotionally, physically. Yep. When I say physically, there are some things that are happening in your head that will make you tighten up in your body. Yep. There are some things that you just kind of don't really comprehend if you aren't wise enough, or you don't analyze it like we were said. That's why you don't grow. There's places where we're believers, so there are times where the Lord will send you in a circle to be like, oh, you didn't get it that time. You got to go back around. Yep. Man, you hit on something, and this is what I was doing different. I was a bad loser because I didn't do well with losing, and I'm still getting over it. This was probably the best loss that I've taken, right? So you're saying we always get so close. Now, not until the last 2 years did I get to the semifinals and not actually advance. When I lost in the championship last year, I can get that feeling of almost being so close, and I felt the pressure of being really, really tight. There were a lot of outside things of the cage that bothered me, that affected me inside the cage. So, okay, boom. Take that loss, and we mark it up to that loss. We analyzed the whole summer after being one round closer to being the $1 million bad man champion, right? We get that done. We're number one seed this year. We were number one seed all the way through, smashing people, right? And it wasn't like that, like you're saying, you're getting to that moment and then saying, oh, I'm the $1 million guy, I'm the number one seed, and then falling or fumbling. It was going back to, okay, you didn't learn. Take another lap. You know what I mean? I'm still an emotional, immature gangster. And I need to fix that when it comes to these brighter lights, these bigger moments. Yes, I can reflect off the things I did in the past and the things that I went through, but I do have to channel that when it comes to who I am as a fighter, who I am as a warrior. You were saying you did things different. I too did things differently this time. I didn't go into my dark place like I normally do, because those dark places, those losses, after those losses, there are places that you can go as a fighter, as a man. When they say, oh, don't say that you're a warrior because there's no life and death to it. Bro, you can die spiritually. You can die emotionally. You can be emasculated and never feel like that man again.
Assassinating your character.
Your character can be assassinated. You can be so defamed or embarrassed in that cage in those times that you never become who you thought you were ever again. So there's a lot of warrior-like things that happen. Not only do you die sometimes in that cage, you sacrifice and kill a lot of yourself leading up to that moment, leading up to that moment of either being great or being emasculated. You know what I mean?
It's true, man. It's true.
So it's a thin line, and it's a balance that is not yet calculated. You know, so many people that are great can tell you, man, oh, there's days like this. You know, I can't tell you what happened to me. I just felt I had a mental short circuit. Yeah, I just was not there emotionally. I have three main thoughts of a 15-minute fight or even a 10-minute fight. I have three main thoughts, and I don't remember those thoughts. I don't remember anything else, and that's not common for me. You know, I used to black out in college when I used to fight. You know, or earlier in my MMA career, being a little nervous from being a top prospect. So I used to black out in those fights.
But see, that's trauma. That's not, if you think about it, that's not normal, you know. But you have made it normal. But you
dealt with it. But it peaked its head this last fight. You
made it normal within yourself. Like your brain was like, "Oh, we do this all the time. It's no big deal." You know what I mean? That's what your brain was telling you. Like, "Hey, it happens all the time. It's no big. This is what we do." Shit, you know what I mean? But that's not. It's not normal. It's not a normal thing.
Yeah, you're 100% right. And it is truly. It's not normal. But when have we ever been normal?
Never.
Honestly, I was dead for 3 months in my mom's womb. You know what I mean? I'm a miracle baby. So when it comes to like expecting normality, I have not been there ever. So this is, in a sense, what we do. This is
fighting.
What a sense.
It's just like fighting,
what we
dude.
do. We are the winning sperms.
Yeah. You know, just think about it. Fighting people is not normal. Like we are not supposed to fight people.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Especially at a level.
Our hands are for grabbing. It's not for punching.
100%. And you know, what do you think about the way you felt during the cage? So we talked about a couple things leading up to it. What do you think? What was going on while it was happening inside the ring? No one else gets this. No one else. You only can ask a fighter this type of. What were you thinking? What were some of the positive things that were going on? What were some of the negative things that were going on that made you like, man, if I could redo this, or man, I don't know why I thought this, or it was just funny to you. Give us some insight. Bring us inside the cage with you.
Honestly, the if I could redo one thing, I would have managed my weight cut a little better. You know what I'm saying? Because I felt so weak in my fight. And I've never felt that feeling before, you know what I'm saying? Where, when you wake up in the morning and you try to grip and you just can't, everything was so weak. Yeah. And so my brain was like, what is this? Now I know when I'm like, okay, you know what? We need to relax, And so like I executed the game plan perfectly. The fight started, put him up against the cage. I did. My mindset was on point. Like everything about my mindset, everything was good. It's just my body, my grip, my being able to throw a punch. Everything felt so like 100 pounds. You know what I'm saying? A lot of it could have been stress, but a lot of it was I think it was just like I just got to get better at managing my weight cut. That's something I need to get
this
way better at.
This is a perfect segment to Foodie Fit Preps. Shout out to Foodie Fit Preps. They are my Foodie Fit company. They actually make your meals. They have a couple of different locations, and we're going to put their apps and things right there. They are responsible for all of my weight cuts. I drop a massive amount of weights, but I also really look good and feel good during it. So Foodie Fit Meal Prep, shout out to you guys. But do you think it was in your diet or just in your last couple of days? Like, because I know, so say it's an 8-week camp, right? It can be 3 meals on the last week that ruin your whole freaking camp. You know what I mean?
No.
Like, damn, I shouldn't have put that much salt, or I shouldn't have had that much this, or shouldn't have drank that much whatever. It could be in your last week that ruins a lot of your camp.
Well, for me, usually like they give the UFC gives us food, and I eat like half the meal. Okay. This time I was eating like a couple bites a day because in my head I'm like, you know what? The less I eat, the less I have to cut. But I think that's
a younger mindset. One younger mindset. And that's what affected your body. And you can't cut your body off like that. That's a lesson learned,
for
man.
real. And hopefully Jason Manley's not watching this because he bro, going into the fight, he's been on me about nutrition, about that stuff. Going into the fight. But
shout out Manley, man. He's a beast. When it's all said and done, It's gonna be me, Manly, and Dewey as a coaching staff.
Yeah, man, I can't wait.
Yeah,
I can't wait.
Yeah,
I
that's
can't
gonna
wait,
be
man.
a locked in.
I can't
crew
wait.
right there.
But here's the thing about what I take. I think another reason why it helps me with being so happy after my fight. Because I generally, there is excuses where you can say that was an excuse. Yeah, sure, it wasn't. You can say it was an excuse, but I know me. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I genuinely could have done better, I would have, right? If I could have, I would have. So, and that is okay. You know what I'm saying? So, when I was so weak, but my mindset was still there, and I know what I could have done. Had I just had energy. He took me down. I was on top of him, and I was just like, I can't even stand up right now. So I'm gonna bust him with some elbows. You know what I mean? I'm gonna land some elbows on top. If I had a weak mind,
you kept your mind in it.
Yeah, my mind was still in it. You know what I'm saying? My mind was still in it. When he got my back, I was like, shit. Like my hand, oh man, everything is weak, but I'm still gonna try. I'm still gonna try until I wasn't able to try anymore. And I analyzed everything, and I was like, I had to be honest with myself. I was like, Ode, honestly, be honest with yourself. Had you had strength and had you been 100% you, no one's ever really 100%. Well, how do you feel that you'd have done? I'm like, I didn't think that dude had anything in there. You know what I'm saying?
You want that back.
Yeah, but so I had to then go back and be like, you know what? Here's what you need to fix. We got to work some things out with your diet and come back. Other than that, I think the thing that I should have done was been like, you know what? One thing I beat myself up for is saying, you know what? Even though I felt weak, I didn't give it my all. You know what I'm saying? That kid from Jamaica would have been like, man, forget that.
Right.
We gonna whoop ass regardless. Like, forget that, man.
Yeah,
nah.
forget your body. Forget
how you feeling.
Yeah.
Let's go.
The
We don't
kid from
care.
Jamaica would've
And that
got you.
kid from Jamaica would have said that. You know what I'm saying? And one thing I beat myself up about, I'm like, damn. I'm like, you know what?
Can't
I kind of
forget
let
that kid.
myself.
It's almost like a can't forget where you came from kind of moment.
Yeah.
So that's what you learned a little bit of.
That was my learning lesson. I let
can't forget where you
myself.
came from. Don't forget to get it out the mud.
And I let myself succumb to that weak feeling, and I let it become. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Where I'm like, man, when I first started fighting, that never
came across your mind. Okay, so let me give you where I was at. I didn't have that. I mentally was not there.
Yeah.
Where I could tell you, oh, I'm weak, or I didn't feel weak.
Yeah.
I didn't feel gassed.
Yeah.
I didn't feel.
You just snapped.
I didn't have a thought. There was throw a head kick. There was the wrong thought of, I just need to win one round. So after there was negative things going on in the first round, there was things, I don't know what position I was, but there was something that was happening and I didn't like it. And I said to myself, don't sweat. Yep. Just need to win one round. But it wasn't that's not the kid from Jamaica. Like that's not that's not Batman from Virginia that said, don't, you just need to win one round. But all we do is dominate. I ain't lost a minute. I haven't lost a minute in the PFL other than in the championship or then when I lost to Wade. But it was like every round every fight that I've won, I've won every minute. I've dominated all those fights, right? If I was in it, I was in it to dominate it.
I can tell you, bro. You don't even have to explain, man. I know you. I know how you fight. I could tell watching you. I was watching with Jason. I'm like, yeah, that's he's mentally not in it. Like, bro. I hate to say this. Yeah. I hate to say this, but me and Jason were like, you know what? Because we saw how, you know what I'm saying? We saw like that you were gone. Bubba was I don't know who was in your body, and we're like, I don't think he's gonna pull this one off. Yeah, because you were not there. You know
I was not there. You're so wild. So like how you can analyze that and say, okay, I'll go back to this drawing board and say, I need to do my diet better. I need to the thing that I learned that I need to do better.
Yeah, what did you learn?
Is that I have to by any means, by all means, I have to keep my composure.
Yes. Yeah.
I have to.
And so I got a question for you though. I'm gonna challenge you. So how are you going to do that? What building blocks are you going to put in place in your brain?
One, my children help me on an everyday basis, right? Up. I lose my top a little bit, and I came up to myself. Cause I'm working to be the best at everything, right? So I came up to my son and I was like, "Hey, son, what's up?" I was like, "Hey, am I being a good dad?" He was like, "Yeah." I was like, "What do you think I can do more of, and what do you think I could do less of?"
That's what's up, man.
You know what I mean? And
that's what's up.
He was like, "You probably couldn't do more of anything. We're doing a lot. You're doing, we're going having fun every day, but you could probably do a less of. He said, you know what? If you were more like a nurturing mom and a disciplinarian dad, and like meet somewhere in the middle and not so always dad, it would be a good mix. And I was like, okay, so not so disciplinarian. Let you guys slide, a little bit more nurturing, because I don't give that to them. I'm more like always, I need you guys to be right. We're always in an important place. I've always got interviews. I always got, dad's on the phone. I got business. It's always a very,
that's
more
amazing,
of a
man.
serious place.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
So to analyze it to get that from him, it was a different understanding. Like, okay, I'm going to work on back to what that is composure. When they are, running around or being children. They're just being children. They're 5, 7, and 9. When they're being children, I need to keep my composure. When I'm being stormed, like he stormed me, there will be people like Wade will look at that tape and be like, all I got to do is stay in his face and he's going to fold. He can't keep his composure. I just got to talk some trash about his children and
that's why
he'll
he
be uncomposed.
You. But that's why he texted you.
But that's the same, 100%. But that is the same reason why I beat him the first time. I was composed. It was a fight that I wanted so bad that there was no emotional this or that. I came to the weigh-ins with a tape over my mouth just to give it an understanding that I'm done talking, I'm done being emotional, all business now. And then from pillar to post, I beat his ass. But then in this Pinedo fight, we're going back and forth a little bit. I just got emotional. He clocked me. I'm just like, I'm getting this. I'm going to get this. But I never had that thought. You know what I mean? Like, if I get clocked and I have a thought, get this back, then I'm thinking. I never thought. There were 3 thoughts.
It was like we fight like we see colors, red, green, blue. There's no like, all right, we're gonna set up this low kick with this head kick, and then we're gonna 1, 2, 3. Nah, we see colors.
It was all red. It was all red. It was just flashes of red and black.
Oh man,
it was just red. Someone was just waving.
That's the color you don't want to see. That's the color you don't want to see, man. But I believe that we fight in colors. You know what I mean? Like when I fight, I'm like white, purple, green, yellow. You know what I mean? And that's how I fight. It's not like, okay, I'm gonna hit this low kick.
And
then
what
when
are
he
your
blocks
colors
it,
represent? What is your white? What is your purple? What is your red?
They're feelings. They're feelings. I react. You know what I'm saying? Those are just reactionary. This is just my colors is an example of like my feelings, my reactionary
I'm
feelings.
Feeling very white right now. Ooh, let me get it going.
Like, it's like if somebody throws a kick and I check, it's like I check and return. Boom, boom, boom. I don't have to think about that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
If I have to think, that means, damn, I'm thinking too much. My colors aren't here. You know what I mean? Before it was yellow, boom. You know what I mean? Yellow, boom. Now it's like, okay, he kicked me. I gotta go back.
Too much thinking.
Okay, you know what? He kicked me. I gotta kick him back.
I like that. I've never heard it in colors.
Yeah, because we fight in feelings. Like we don't think about throwing a jab. Like, okay, I'm gonna throw a jab now. Boom.
But it's just to me, it's process for me. I'm building a process. So it's like I'm trying to clean my room, right? When I go in there, I'm trying to clean my room. So first I start with the socks and all the pants and stuff like that, and then I'll start with the shoes and then the shirts. And, so when I'm fighting, I'm like, okay, let me get my jab going. That's some of the things that I'm working on, and then I'm building this clean room. At the end, I'm getting my hand raised of just doing the best things possible to clean your room. I'm doing what my father, my coach on the outside of the room, would want me to do on the inside. Hey, I want you to, sweep over here, and I'm over there just moving my feet, sweeping. I want you to, get double A, take them down. That's, taking the laundry out or whatever it is. I'm slowly but surely putting a process together.
That's amazing, man.
That's how I see it.
That's amazing because you have to do something because if you don't,
you get bored and get knocked out.
Yeah, and I used to do 3 hours on every Saturday. 3 hours. I used to take this class, and people I get made fun of by my friends all the time. I used to take this class for 3 hours, and it was like vibrational therapy. Like you meditate, and they play like these like and we meditated. We talked. We sit in the we sit and we talk about everything. So when we go into like they call it your journey or whatever, but for 3 hours I did breath work. 3 hours. You know why? Because after my first UFC fight and I lost, I self-sabotaged, and I was like, I need to figure out what is going on with my brain, But in order to figure it out, I need to uncover these layers. You know what I mean? I've never meditated before. I'm willing to try anything. You know,
Right.
so I used to just do breath work.
Yeah.
You know, just over oxidate my brain.
Is that something? So this is going to go into our last part of, you know, bringing people in to the cage. After you took your loss, after you analyze what you wanted to have happen, it didn't happen, after you've fallen short of your goal, after you now look at that November 5th and like, okay, you're looking off into the future, what can you do? What will you do? How do you do what you're talking about now, giving yourself that time to breathe?
So
how do you mix a little bit of the things that worked for you in the past and what you can do new to never have what happened again?
So for me, I always try to get into my fight. However I want to fight, I emulate that. I wake up in the morning and I got my plants. I take my cactus and I have a giant window. I sit in the sun with my cactus and I just go into like fight mode. And, you know, for most people, fight mode is like angry and aggressive. But for me, it's just a stoic, calm composure, you know, kind of like just a stoic composure. I do that all the time. Why? Because, you know, back in the day, I'd be like, okay, how should I be on fight mode? Should I be mad? Should I be a gangster? Or should I come out happy and greet everybody? Should I dance and be funny? Or should I try to get these followers? Should I, you know, but now I know how, and then when it's time to fight, I don't have a place to go in my brain. You know, I'm just like, oh shit, okay, we're here, we're fighting. I have a place to go every time now because I practice that. You know, on fight night, when it's time to go, lock the cage door, I'm in my zone. I practice that zone for about 15 minutes, you know, because the more you practice it, the more you get in it, and the more you shed away, and you the darkness that lies within your brain.
Well,
you know what I'm saying? Because
that is so prevalent because people don't understand the process and the journey that it comes from becoming like a challenger to a contender to actually becoming a champion.
Yep.
That process that you're talking about, like getting your walkout song and actually how you're going to walk out and how you're going to greet people and how you're going to be seen and what your first go-to plan is and when you're going to take your shot as a wrestler and when you're going to throw your big punch as a boxer and when you're going to throw that powerful kick as a kick guy, you know, all those things people don't realize when they're sitting on the couch and they're watching us up there that each fight comes in, we get 30 seconds from that. You know what I'm saying? We don't get the 15 or the whole 18 weeks. We get 30 seconds of experience from that. And you have to, like, even in that 30 seconds, extend as much as you can and keep that with you for the next one, because that's what you got to learn over. That's what you got to grow on. But with that, they don't understand that process takes so many years.
Oh my goodness.
To get there. And there are a lot of people who don't think about some of this stuff.
But if you think about the whole wax on, wax off thing, you know what I mean? That it has nothing to do with actually fighting. Fighting has zero to do with actual fighting. It has to do with your mentality, you know, discipline, focus. Everything has to be aligned like the algorithm. You know what I'm saying? Everything has to line up perfect in order to be a great fighter. One thing goes off and like you said, the whole building goes crashing down, you know? Absolutely. And that's, like you said, it has to be just in line. So, you know, I guess what I try to do is try to emulate my mindset a couple times, you know, just so that on fight day I can line up better, you know, even if there's one thing that's off, I can line up better because I know how to get into my zone because I've been practicing, you know what I'm saying? Whereas otherwise, you know, before I would, you know, I'd come out sometimes and I would just be like, all right, how should I be? And I would think too much.
Your formula.
What should I do? How should I be? How should I act? You know, I'm just like, oh man.
Now you have, you know, what we've learned and what we're going into, a perfect script, a perfect formula. I know exactly where I should be getting on the plane. Yeah. You know, I know exactly where I want to be being at the hotel on fight week for a couple of days, right? I know exactly where I would like to be during different things during the fight camp because it is my formulated script to success. It's something that I've formulated for all these years. I practiced it for all these years. So, man, I'm excited. What do you think? But
that's why you're such a good fighter. You know what I mean? Like you said, you're not a bad fighter at all. You're an amazing fighter. You have the most potential out of anybody in PFL. You know what I'm saying?
I appreciate
you never lose lose to you ever. Not one time did you ever lose to you where you were like, man, I wish my technique was better. Not one time. You have all the technique. I've seen you do rounds with Timmy. I've seen you do rounds with Chris Lee, Keith Lee. You know, we have all the technique. It's always you versus you.
Yeah,
and
we gotta tone that in.
Yeah, man. And once you understand that, where it's like, you know what? I can be the best and be a champion if I want to.
Right.
Then why am I not doing it?
Right.
You know
that's
what I mean?
That's one of the things that, listen, I'll give you this. That is one of the carrots that has actually not made me. You said, you texted me, hey, you know, we're going to be out here living. Like after you texted me, you outside yet? Because, you know, we both lost. And you're like, hey, what you doing, bro? You outside? And I'm like, nah, I ain't outside. I'm still, you know what I'm saying? I'm still licking my wounds. And you text me something like, you know, we're going to live long, or we do this for a long time, or this is life. You know, you send me some encouraging message, and, you know, it wasn't me pouting or like, being I deal with my losses hard.
But
bro,
we're fighters.
I dealt with it a little bit different. But even in dealing with it a little bit different, I still understood that I didn't drop the ball on being a world champion. Very next year I can be right back in the same position, and I have a good couple years to do it.
And see, and that's how you shed that those demons, those traumas. You know what I'm saying? Because now you're accepting it.
Absolutely.
Your demons and your childhood traumas and everything else is trying to pull you underwater. Like, Bubba, nah, you don't deserve that. You don't deserve that.
You didn't win that fight. That was your first main event. And you should have. Your children was there. I had a couple of those demons speak to me on a couple different, dark nights. You get some of those. You know,
you just gotta accept it.
What I was telling my children, this is one thing that I'll say before we move on to mail time. I was telling my children, hey, because they were in the audience, and I said, when you are watching, when you are going after something, when you have a goal, right, you need to have 10 out of 10 thoughts be about everything about achieving that goal. 9 out of 10 thoughts is not even good enough, because that leaves a room, that one shadow of doubt. That's literally a shadow of a doubt. You got to have 10 out of 10 thoughts saying, I'm going to do this. I will do this. It's going to happen. Right. But when it doesn't happen, right, when you fall short, you guys saw how I was talking before the fight. Oh yeah, I'm going to do this. Right. And you guys were right there behind me. Daddy's going to do it. Daddy's going to win it. Boom.
As you should be like that. You know what I mean?
And then it didn't happen. Right. I told them, the quicker you can get back to those thoughts, right, being 7 out of 10 thoughts, 8 out of 10 thoughts being positive, the better. What's going to happen is, after you don't reach that, after you had all 10 of those 10 thoughts, the enemy is going to come in and try to give you all kinds of negative thoughts. Out of 10 thoughts, only 1 of them are going to be positive. Only 2 are going to be positive. For the next 3 or 4 days, it's going to be at an intensity where none of your thoughts are going to add up to a positivity. And I said, and I looked all my babies in the face, I need you guys to understand, and I've still got my eyes still blackened with, stitches or whatever. I looked them all in the eye. I said, I need you to understand, the quicker you can get to a place where you're thinking positive and you're thinking great about who you are and what you still can do, the better. And that was a lesson that I had as it was being taught to me right there, right on the spot. That was something that I was like, oh, light bulb. Hey guys, stop the car. Turn on. Everyone look at me. You guys got to get this. You have to have this for when it happens to you, because it's bound to happen. For sure. You are going to reach for the star and fall short of something. You're going to reach for something and fall short through the process of success. Through the process of success, you will have failure.
Well, because you, in order to, it's going to sound, okay, in order to be a mastery of something, right? In order to be like, own the most successful business ever, you would have had to fail in positions to know how to own your successful business.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
You got to own your success by fulfilling at it.
Yeah. So now when we're talking spiritually in our mind, in order to have a very strong mind, You know what I'm saying? Now you understand those pains of losing.
You've had to overcome some shit too.
So now you can give your kids those tools, those little knickknacks and paddywhacks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I call them golden nuggets. I literally, we had to get them out the mud. Those little golden nuggets that we got out the mud that were in those caves.
Paddywhacks.
but they are. It's those nursery rhymes, those little gimmies, those little kissies that you know, that as a child that you get from your nurturing parent, that we as men get from our Father in heaven as believers. But as warriors, these are the nuggets that we get, our golden nuggets that we get as warriors. We're constantly on this thin line of trying to be the most warrior-like man we can be, while also
100%.
being the son of God that we're expected to be. But when falling short, we got to find our ways to pivot and make do of what is going on. So
100%, man.
I appreciate you for coming in, my man. This was an awesome episode. This was awesome to have you in here.
Yes.
I'm actually going to keep you around for mail time because I like having family around.
Let's go.
Mail time. Mail time is another segment of the show that is dope. That is something where my fans send me different things, and we're going to look at what they sent today. So, DJ, can you kick that beat for me?
Ooh.
Look, if Batman's in this bitch, they put my check in the mail. And if I'm posted on the block, you bet that stock and got sale. I can tag and rap savage, give them packets of hell. And your man ain't average, the savage traction itself. Mommy wrap a damage back and put it back on the shelf. And I don't need no backup that, I'll just be backing myself. It's the post office, bitch, that package back on the shelf. You can back it on the scale or back it back on myself. I'll be popping at the dock, these birdies flocking for bail. And I ain't trying to pop it like I hit the waiting for hell. Sitting yaki at the yacht, I'm living dangerous as hell. I'm waving nines in the air, yelling, where is my L? We wanting buckets, not pails. I wasn't stunting they wells. I'm from the bottom of the bottom, bitch. Where is my mail?
What'd you get?
Hey,
what'd you get?
Mail time. What I got was from my man Inky More J. All right, shout out to Inky More J. My man's been following me. He's from California. He got his own Instagram and own stuff. He got his own thing going. And I'm gonna let y'all know what he got for me. He actually just texted me that he's gonna be sending me some new stuff. So y'all check out for him in the next mail time. But right now, we got some army fatigue. You know, we was talking about that warrior mentality. Ain't nothing like some army on them, huh?
That's that ooh-wee.
Yeah. Shout out to Inky Moore, huh? We got that part. Last time I got some shoes. They've been sending me all kinds of stuff, man. But I'm a big fan of the fans that are fans of me.
Yeah.
Who definitely shout out and look out my mailbox. And y'all hit me on the DMs. If y'all want to become part of Mail Time and become part of the show, y'all just hit me up. We're going to put your tags out there. We're going to let everybody know where to get it from. And we're going to make sure that y'all get the love y'all need. Inky More J, check out his page, check out his tag. He sent me some stuff. Make sure y'all go by and support Ink with the tag. Yeah. I know y'all see it. Hey, do you got any fans that send you some stuff? What you got about it?
They randomly, you know what I mean? Yeah, I got randomly, they'll send me just a bunch of random stuff.
What is one of the coolest things you maybe got sent?
Oh man, a picture of myself.
But
it was like it was hand sketched.
Yeah,
you know, this dude from France sketched this like.
Those are the best.
Yo, I was like, you spent time.
Time out. As fighters, as like fans, we got some awesome fans out there. And when you're really doing it, you know, there's some cool like action shots out there that they have of us, right? But when you get a really good drawing, fan sketch, or however, and they send it of us, whether it's just us chilling or whether it's an action shot, we love that.
We do. We love that.
That's why I asked him, what was one of your goals? That's easily my story. Somebody sent me another drawing. I can't pick. There's a couple of them that they draw, but I have them at my house. I appreciate all the fans that send not only their drawings, but their sneakers, their shoes, whatever you're doing in business. We support it. Badman Podcast, Bubba Jenkins, we out, baby.
This is one of them. Virginia stand up 757. You're gonna like this one. We run teams. Teams boys. We get 'em. Batman in this new hair, new whip, big wheels, no grip.
What's going on, people out there, my fans? It is your boy, Bubba Jenkins, with another Badman podcast. Yes, sir, we're doing Badman Things all 2023, and I'm excited for today's podcast. The Badman podcast is bringing you some awesome guests. We're gonna get into the fights and to the theories behind it and different things that make the fight game what it is. It is very unforgiving. It is very giving when it comes to the gifts and the treasures and the lights and the glory. But there are a lot of dark days that are in the fight game, and it's much like the music industry in a sense. So there's some things that you can win the fight but lose the war. So we'll talk about that in our talk of the town. But hey, welcome to another Badman podcast. I appreciate you guys for tuning in. We got some great news today. I'm getting Christmas in November. Yeah, it's like an early Christmas present. I don't know if everybody knows, but PFL is having their championship. Shout out to all of the guys and women and the people who have made it to the championship, get to fight for that $1 million. Only half of you guys will get it. The rest of you guys will feel exactly like me. But I always say it's sometimes better to get third than to get second. Nonetheless, I've been in a lot of tournaments. I've been there. I've been to the top, been to the bottom. It's a grind to be in the PFL. It's a grind to be in that tournament style. So, shout outs and bravo and congratulations to all the people who are going to be in the finals this year. But with that said, let's talk about the undercard. Yeah, the undercard of that fight card will be none other than the trilogy that most people want to see. It will be the main event for most of the people. There's of course some things that got to be decided with the belts and the $1 million, but the fight for the fight for the space that is at 145 is getting thin up there, right? So, loser leaves town type of fight. It's me versus Wade trilogy, the number 3. Yes, I'll fight him twice in 1 year. I'll fight him twice in 1 week. Twice in 1 night. Once I wake him up from him being unconscious, if he wants to get it on again in the crowd, I'm sure my Virginia home will oblige to that. It's going right down in my backyard in DC. We are excited. We are more than pumped. It is Thanksgiving and Christmas all wrapped up in one, and I could not be more excited about it. I got a wonderful text this morning from wonderful people, and even I got some hate this morning. So it was good to see that, Chris is still, got me on his heart and mind. It's been some time since we've, talked and had a hug and a moment. So, we will get our moment again November 24th. But, I'm in a place where, I just want to work. I just want to work, PFL has given me this opportunity to, go out there and clean the slate. Hey, let's get that taste out of your mouth. I wouldn't say that they aren't necessarily saying that, but I know they want this fight to happen for a lot of good reasons, and I personally want to get this taste out of my mouth. So this is a fight that we have all been waiting for. We're excited to see how quickly they forget, how quickly they forget. It's been a long time since I've had to deal with, the things that I had to deal with when I lost to Chris Wade the first time. So, we are as good as our last performance, and my last performance was not that good. But, I was in the building that night when he fought, so I can't say that he was miraculous either. We are going to try to see who bids for third, I suppose, and then really puts the lights in the fans and the stands and the crowd at that night. We're gonna see what beholds of PFL and where we sit on that card. So I hope you guys tune into that. I want to hear your comments, your questions, all of that. We're going to listen to some of you guys talking. There's a lot of people hitting me up online. We're going to be answering some questions probably in the next show. So, yeah, man, we're excited about some of the things that are coming out, and I cannot even wait to tell you guys all about, the surprises we have in the camp, we preparing for Wade. So I'm excited for that. But none other than the Bad Man Podcast. Bad Man Podcast. Shout out to all the awesome sponsors out there. Ample Points. Go check out Ample Points. Use your referral code BADMAN, BADMAN. Tell them Badman sent you. Tell Bubba Jenkins from the podcast sent you. Once you go to Ample Points, you'll see everybody on there. You'll even see my little logo right here. You'll see this up there. Boom. Click on that. Not only going to see what I got going on, what I got coming up, what I'm selling, what's being sold. I mean, I'm telling you, look. Check it out, amplepoints.com. Shout out to the sponsors. We're going to have the show uploaded there. We're going to have different content, music put on there. Ample Points is, it's one of the awesome new platforms that you guys can go check out. And when you do, make sure you tell them Bubba Jenkins sent you. What's up? It's your boy Batman. And we have to talk about the talk of the town this week. And it's going to be none other than my boy, my young man, young Timmy Twilight Kawamba. He is my talk of the town this week because, man, not only did he light up the city last night on his Contender Series UFC debut, he put on an amazing show, an amazing fight, back and forth war, but he was impressive in every way that I can actually put out there, man. And so I'm going to make him my talk of the town. Timmy went out there, fought a really game opponent. We prepared very well for his wrestling and, him defending the shots. I think he defended 7 of the 8 takedowns that the guy, threw at him. They went back and forth. I had Timmy winning the first 2 rounds. The second round was a little bit closer. I think each round, progressively got closer, but Timmy did exactly what he was supposed to do, and in my opinion, stayed away, stayed on his bike, stuck and moved when he had to. He hurt his hand, he broke his hand. I wouldn't say broke his hand, but he messed up his hand right after that first punch right after that 1-2 boom, and everybody was like, "Ooh, that first happened." He kind of caught the guy on his forehead because the guy kind of leans into it, caught the guy on his forehead, on the top of his head, and kind of crushed his hand a little bit. So for him to put on that type of performance and continue fighting for another 14 minutes was amazing. Him to put on that show and to be on the Contender Series and really be looking for the finish when it was opportune. It was an amazing thing. He had a head kick in there off of catching the guy's leg. That was beautiful. And the reason why we're going to have him as a talk of the town, because we was talking about the politics of the game. Sometimes the wars of MMA, you can win the battles, but you'll lose the war. That was a Contender Series. Any other night, I believe Timmy walks away just super excited, super, pumped about his future and things like that. And we still are, don't get me wrong. But he didn't get the contract that was, up in the air for that night. A lot of the guys who finished on the card got the contract, and, Timmy ended up, not really ending the fight on his feet. There were some things that we could have gotten better and done better, maybe an escape or reversal or something like that towards that end of the fight. If you guys can check it out, it's on the ESPN app on, Contender Series. It's definitely a wonderful fight to watch, back and forth. You get on the edge of your seat at the end of it. But Dana said some, pretty amazing things about Timmy, but it was one thing that he said for sure is that, Timmy's young and he's got a long career ahead of him. He's going to be back stronger and better than ever. We'll actually even have Timmy in here a couple of different times for, just different his perspective. He's a wonderful combat mind, not just mixed martial arts, but his boxing and his ability to know what's going on in the fight game at such a young age is very, very amazing. And something that I want to give my fans and show and give you a peek into something that we at BK MMA experience all the time. So talk of the town is Twilight Timmy Kawamba. He is going to be back better than ever. I got a lot of people hit me up from PFL saying, hey, bring Timmy over there. And of course, we're both 45 pounders, and I would love it. If me and Timmy are both in the PFL bracket, we'd just be chewing up both sides of the bracket, right? But Timmy's dream, man, is to be a UFC fighter. about it. He wants to be in the UFC. He wants to go after that UFC belt. And a lot of guys, of that generation, they want that. That's all they've ever known. That was what they're born into, So that's something that is real to him. That is a drive that I want for him. That's a goal that I want for him. So I'm excited for him, to be a part of his journey, to be there. He's a part of my journey. As you guys see him in my corner every fight, every time we're walking out, you see Timmy somewhere in the back, and he's my ride. That's my dog. He's riding to the wheels fall off, and in DC we might get a little ugly, so Timmy might have to show up in shape and ready to rock out, but I think me and him are actually gonna head out to Saudi Arabia and spend a little time out there with Dewey and Francis for our upcoming PFL camp. So look out for a little bit of content with that. We're going to talk about Saudi Arabia and what they're doing with the PFL. Listen, I don't know much about it. I'm as excited as you guys. I'm going to try to give y'all as much knowledge that I know. I guess, now that this is out, they're not going to tell me nothing. But, I'm already going to be in Saudi Arabia or out there in Dubai somewhere dealing with Dewey and Francis because he's got the fight coming up. And as you guys have heard earlier on the podcast, I'll be fighting on the undercard of the championship in DC, baby, in my backyard, in the DMV. So make sure you pop out. Make sure y'all hit me up for tickets. I'm going to need everybody. It's around Thanksgiving. I'm going to need y'all to travel and eat the turkey with me sometime around that Thanksgiving DC area time frame. So let's get it when it comes to the Saudi Arabia and what PFL is doing with them. I know they're in a new investment group. They got $100 million investment, or the investment push towards PFL is worth $100 million. So that's always an awesome thing for a man like myself who happens to be on the verge of needing a new contract. You know what I'm saying? We done did well in the cage, and we did some things on outside the cage as far as interviewing and things like that. So we just gonna sit tight and see what the dust settles. But man, I'm so excited because Saudi Arabia is doing so much in sports, not just in combat, but what they're doing in golf, what they're doing in soccer, what they're doing in everything pretty much that's moving the needle in the world right now. They're having their hands some kind of play and some kind of way in it. So I'm pretty excited to see that. And me being a Bahrain champion, me being a guy that was over there in Bahrain and knowing some of the royal families over there and some of the princes and things like that, it's about time for me to, tap back in with, some of my old plugs and, find out what we got going with some of the people that were over there that were big fans of me and big supporters of me, because obviously those worlds are blending, and there's a reason why. There's a reason why I went to Bahrain. There's a reason why I fought for the Russian organization. There's a reason why I spent some time in Beijing and in Africa and doing the different continents of the world to try to blend this empire together. Badman Tings is not just an American thing. It is me trying to build the brand that is global. So with this in Saudi Arabia and in PFL and where I am with my stock only rising and feeling good about my future and things like that, I'm pretty happy with the new movement of PFL and what they're doing. PFL was already leading and spearheading how to treat fighters and making it more than a fight and things like that. So I'm only excited to see what they do with finances. We all know when the moon comes in, the tide rises, and every boat that's on the water rises with it. So I'm a yacht, baby. We just gonna rise with the tide. What's up? It's your boy Bubba Jenkins again on the Bad Man Podcast. And on today's podcast, we always mixing it up, doing a little different. We really don't got no structure. We just putting stuff together as it goes and finding out what works. So right now, today's interviewee, today's process is going through none other than the Special Jenkins lineage. I am Jesse Jenkins III, and sitting to my left is Jesse Jenkins IV. His middle name and what he goes by is Jream. And I think Coach Dewey's gonna give him a nickname later, call him the Nightmare or something like that. But he goes by Jream. He is my son. He's my oldest son. He's my oldest of two sons. He's my oldest of three children, and he is in in the spot today. Say what's up, Jream.
What's up?
What's up? What's up? What's up? Are you excited to be here? Let's get a little bit about yourself. You tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do.
So, as my dad rephrased, my name is Jream. I'm from California, and I'm currently living in Vegas.
All right. What are some of your favorite hobbies in sports?
My favorite sport is probably soccer.
Mm-hmm. All right. I don't mind that.
My favorite hobby is like art and stuff.
All right. Okay. All right. I don't mind that. I don't mind. I don't mind the fact that you like soccer because the last I checked, they were giving out extreme amount of paydays in that sport. And the type of athleticism that I know you have, with them twinkle toes and the ability that you have to, to get around some sports, I think that I think we're gonna be all right in that field. So that's a good choice. You stick with the stock. You stick with the soccer. Learn your kicks and things like that. Do you practice mixed martial arts at all?
Yeah.
Yeah. You do a little this, a little that.
Favorite type of art fighting style would be Muay Thai.
Muay Thai.
Or kickboxing.
Okay, and why is that?
Because I'm really good at kicking, and I got long legs.
Okay. All right, we'll take that. Yeah. And why? That's all in other reasons?
No, I just like to use my legs.
Okay.
Like I love kicking.
All right, and that's probably a testament of your soccer too. All right, cool. So we're gonna go deep diving. I shade my children from nothing. If I can have them at the fights, I'm gonna want them at the fights. And he was in attendance at the last fight. And we kind of want to get a quick rundown of what you thought about the fight, how you felt before the fight, going into it, and maybe how you felt after it. So give us a little bit of information about how you felt going into the fight, leading up to it, and being in the arena.
Well, I felt nervous. Like when we first got in the building, I'm like, so much pressure was building up in my body. It felt like I was a volcano and I was about to erupt of excitement. I don't know what to explain.
Was it like it was a good excitement or bad excitement?
A good excitement.
Yeah, it was a good excitement. Because I was main event, you're sitting there and getting ready for the big fight, and it's about to go down. That's a nervous energy. I feel that twice as much. Maybe not on the unknowingness like you. I can diagnose it a little bit. I'm in the back. I'm in the locker room, and that same energy you're feeling out there next to grandma and whoever's out there is a little bit a small version of what I'm feeling. But I'm trying to center it. I'm trying to put it in different places. I'm trying to breathe it away. I'm trying to focus it on different combinations. When I get some of those jittery energies, I try to focus on different things that help me combat any negativity at that time, because those are super powerful emotions, and if you have any negative emotions during that time, that can be a terrible time to really destroy that can be a time that can destroy your camp. All the hard physical work that you've done, if you're not there mentally, it could really put a hamper in your camp. Well, so what'd you feel during the fight? How'd you feel?
I felt a little nervous. The first round, it didn't go as planned.
Right. Well, what'd you think the plan was in the first round?
You changed your plan completely, and I don't blame you because Pinedo didn't make weight. Mm-hmm. And I should have said something better. Like when you were over there, I should have said, "Don't let only win one round get to you."
Right.
Like I should have said, just because he didn't make weight and you only have to win one round, try to win all the rounds.
Right.
I should have said something better. When
we were after weigh-ins, is that what you're saying? Like at dinner when we were all talking about that? And I was speaking on, just got to win one round. In the beginning of
the fight, when we were walking into the front, and I saw you. Okay. I should have said something better.
Okay, all right, yeah. I take heed to a lot of things you said, especially during the walkout, and that's why I love being able to see you guys, whenever I'm walking out and they're starting to take you guys to the ringside seats or stuff like that, if I can get a glimpse of my babies, there's been plenty of times, actually, there was one time where you were in Oregon with your mom and you called me as they were walking me out. And I was just about to leave, and I heard my phone ringing, and I was like, who? I was mad. I was like, who could be calling me at this time? No. And then I looked at my phone just real quick, and it said your son, Jream Jenkins. I was like, oh, I'm definitely answering this. So I answered it, and you was like, hey, Dad, what's going on? I was just like, hey, Dream, I just wanted to hear from you, man. I'm actually about to walk out. I got to get off the phone. And you're like, oh, go get him. You said something, whatever. But it's definitely being able to see my baby, seeing my why. You guys are my why. I don't know. You might not understand this now, but of course I want to win for the championships and the glory of the Lord and things that we talk about inside the house, right? To get you guys in better places, get a better car, better house, and better things for us to live. We can go vacation and do some awesome stuff, right? But mostly my why is to show you guys how to succeed at life, to show you that failure is not a part of it's not a part of losing. It's not a part of, it's a part of success. Failing is a process in the successful pattern. It's a part of it. And I don't shade you guys from any of the things that I do. I don't shade you guys from the workouts, the training, the goods, the bads. You guys see your dads in all forms. And that's one thing that I love about having you guys around during the fight camp. A lot of times fight camp should be separated. A lot of times the warrior that is in the man and the nurturing that is in the family, it should sometimes be separated because this man is getting ready for something that is bigger than the emotions of the family and the wants of the family, right? There's a lot of people don't see it as a life or death situation, but there's a lot of things that go into being a fighter and having your family ride for you in that way. So there are some times where you do feel that pressure that you were feeling going into the fight and having lead up to the fight that most men feel throughout the camp, and that's why they usually want to separate that family and fighter dynamic. But I embrace it. I really do. I love seeing you guys. I love seeing you guys on my walkout. I love hearing from you guys. But you guys are the smartest lions that roam around the jungle that is, my kingdom, and it is not easy to keep all you lions in your cages, right? They're super intelligent, they're super smart, and you guys are always everywhere, and I love it. What do you think about the results and the things that I was saying to you afterwards? After we got back from the hospital, after Daddy got stitched up, and what were your comments, and how were you feeling? Maybe before I spoke to you, and then how were you feeling after I spoke to you? Let's go with before I spoke.
Before you spoke, I was really stoked. I was just so excited. I don't know what to say. I was just blown away. Mm-hmm. Because I knew you were gonna have a fight, and it was exciting. Like say you're about to go to Disneyland, mm-hmm. and you've never been to Disneyland ever in your life. Mm-hmm. Like say you're 3 days away. All that excitement and pressure and built up for the plane ride all the way into Atlanta.
Yeah.
Like
it was San Antonio, but yes, it was all the pressure of going to San Antonio. Now, what did you feel how did you feel after the fight?
After the fight, I don't know how to explain it.
Give your honest opinion. We all want to know.
I don't know how to explain it.
I was
just glad you were okay. At that point, I don't care that you lost the fight. I was just glad that you were okay.
Okay, that's a fair assessment. Most family members only care how you feel about if you're okay, and that's the one thing. I think after I spoke to you, I was bloody from my toe all the way up to my eyebrow. Right, that's almost every inch of my body that can be bloody. Right, and I told you he touched my body, but he didn't touch my mind. And the thing about where we were is I don't feel like I ever showed up presently. You can feel I was there physically, but I think even in watching, you could see that mentally I wasn't thinking.
You mentally weren't prepared.
I wasn't plugged in. It was almost like playing a video game and the controller just uncontrolled for the entire rounds. You know what I mean?
Your brain just I'm shutting off.
Right.
For no reason.
And for no reason. And sometimes we as fighters, if we just push that behind us and don't really try to go deep down and understand what that was, then we could miss a moment that not only the fight game is trying to teach us, but we as believers in Christ, we can miss a moment that God is trying to teach us, so not only about ourselves, but about who we're supposed to be in the fight game. And there was one thing that I saw in the presentation. I didn't like how braggadocious I was. I was in the back and I saw the presentation of me speaking and things like that. And when I'm out there, of course, I was selling the Badman brand. I'm getting people to understand Badman and what the brand is and who Bubba Jenkins is, Suplex City and Dem Suno. We got all these things that we're trying to get the public to understand as far as who we are as the Jenkins unit, the Jenkins Batman clan, J Squad. But I think I needed to present more of who God made me and less of who Badman was. You know what I mean? I think I got too hyped on the moment that was my first main event. And then not being, what the Lord wanted for me. I thought I was so out there that it was all about me and the Badman and the air guitar that I wasn't focused not only on Pinedo, but on the message that I'm supposed to be sending in the biggest picture. Not only to you guys, to your brother and sister, but to the world of people who are in a position like me. So I think. What do you have to say about that? What do you think about the presentation that you saw leading up to me about to fight?
Well, to be honest, the highlights were great.
All right. Not the highlights, but the interview. The interview itself. How I was talking. You didn't mind it?
No.
Okay.
I didn't see any flaws in it.
All right. Well, this is me. This is cool. See, this is me going back and giving you my dark place, right? Not many people give you their ins and outs of what they were doing and why they were doing it and what they thought about it after the fight. I'm telling you, look, I fell flat on my face, and after the fight, there are some things that, of course, that I want to fix. But one of the things is I didn't put God first in my presentation. They saw too much of the Badman and the brand. So that was just one thing that I felt as though I could change. Humble myself a little bit more and, speak more with my fists and not be so dominant in my braggadociousness. I was a lover of telling people about how great I could be or how great I was, and then instead of going out there and improving it and showing it. So what do you think about me getting the November 24th fight in D.C., backyard fight for me in Virginia? I'm from Virginia. What do you think about me fighting Chris Wade on that card? What do you have to say about that?
From the last fight, so it could be you winning this, it could be Chris Wade winning this, but it's obviously you winning this.
Okay.
Only because why I said that is because the first fight Chris Wade won. Mm-hmm. The second fight was redemption time.
Right.
and this fight is to settle who's the better fighter.
Right.
Which is obviously you.
Okay, I get that. All right. So that's how you feel about the entirety of the fight.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what do you think will happen in the fight?
I feel like you're gonna win.
How?
Like it's either gonna be ref is calling it, you submit him, or you win most of the rounds.
Okay, all right. So you have a hard time seeing your pops knock Wade out, huh?
That's because he got good defense.
He does. Okay, all right. That's a good point. That's a good point. I appreciate that honesty. And I'm going to do my best to try to wrong you of that opinion, because I really, between me and you, between me, you, your brother and I and your sister, between us, the Badman clan, J Squad, I really want to knock out, man. Listen, I want to put him out on his feet. I want him to be out before he realizes his back is on the ground. Do you understand what I'm saying? So there's a part of me that wants you to really, really be wrong. But you're really good at this. You're really good at analyzing. You're really good at telling us what you see and how you see it. So, I can't blame you with that analyzation. That's a hard one for me to even come off of. That's probably more likely true than it's not, So, all right, that's a good assessment. And last but not least, we're going to get how you felt about Timmy's fight. Talk of the town was Twilight Timmy putting on the show that he put on. We went to the UFC Apex last night. You had to go stay with grandma. Daddy left, and I went and supported my mans, and I thought he did a very good job. How did you feel after I got home and we sat down and watched the fight? How did you feel about it?
I actually felt blown away. Well, I wasn't completely blown away because I was expecting Timmy to win. Mm-hmm. He won like you said, you called it. He won the first 2 rounds. The last round, I feel like the only reason why what's his name?
I don't know. Vogel. The other guy that he's fighting. Yeah, I almost forgot his name. Go ahead. The only reason why Vogel.
The only reason why Vogel won the last round was because he got a takedown, and he rode him to like
2.5 minutes of control is going to get you the round, pretty much. Yeah. So, but did you think that when he got up, when he was at the end of the round, he was saying, "Oh, it's 2-1." His rounds. How'd you feel about him believing that he won 2-1 and his kicks? And he did have more kicks than Timmy. He had he threw more punches than Timmy. How'd you feel about that?
I felt even though he did throw more strikes at Timmy, when Timmy did throw strikes, they were actually accurate, and they didn't miss as much. Like for instance, if he had turned that hook into an elbow, Vogel would have been out. If
That's an absolute fact. Absolutely, sir.
And that kick, if he hit him with his ankle, Vogel also would have been out.
Yeah, absolutely. He slapped him over with the foot. Yeah, for sure. If he would have turned it over, that's the term. If he would have turned his foot over more, he would have definitely put Vogel on his back, because he definitely made Vogel wobble right there. So, what do you think about Dana White not giving him the contract? How do you feel? Do you think he should be in the UFC? You and me watch UFC all the time. We watch other UFC fighters that are at 45. We watch the 35ers. We watch the 55ers. Do you feel Timmy Twilight Kawamba is good enough to be in the UFC? And how do you feel about Dana White not yet giving him the contract?
I don't know what to say about that. Like, why? He just won a fight that you said you would give a contract to.
Yeah.
To be in the UFC.
Right. There was only a couple. It's up to his judgment. So do you feel like he didn't make the right judgment?
Yeah, he didn't make the right judgment. In my opinion, I honestly do not. I just don't.
Yeah.
100% I do not.
Yeah.
I disagree all the way. I don't know.
Is that because Timmy's like uncle to you or big cuz to you? Is that because you're biased? Or if you never saw Timmy, never knew him, and you just clicked on the TV and you saw that fight, would you say that guy was ready for the UFC?
Yes, I still would.
All right.
Because he won the fight. Like he said, he won the fight. The winner of the fight would get the contract.
Yes, in a sense, though, it's the winner of the fight that impresses Dana, because it's Dana White looking for a champion, and so he's looking for the Contender Series. He's kind of giving these guys to contend for a contract. You have to impress him well enough to get the contract.
But I feel like he did impress him.
Okay, that's a good opinion.
I don't understand.
Yes. What do you think? The takedown at the end of him not escaping or having that sense of urgency to reverse him, you think that is what doomed him for excitement or for the contract?
Probably the contract.
Yeah.
If he stayed on his feet, I'm pretty sure he could have won that round too, and he could have got the contract.
Hey, that's a good assessment. Well, my friend, I appreciate you for being on my show. I appreciate you for being the man that you are. Bam, bam, bam. Cross, cross. Throw it down. Bam, 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 bam. Yeah. And we appreciate you guys for being on the Oh, I ain't even got the mic. Y'all see us messing up. We appreciate you guys for being on the Bad Man Podcast. This is Jesse the 4th and Jesse the 3rd doing our thing. Bad Man Tings all 2023.
Bad Man Tings. Bang this all summer. This is one of them. Virginia stand up. 757. You gonna like this one. We run things. Things don't run. We